Hello and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. So, as you may have guessed by the picture of this video and of the name of this video, I have been looking for ways to incorporate Predator tanks into my Imperial Guard lists. Now some of you may be saying, but Imperial Guard can't take Predators, they're a Space Marine only tank. Well, yes, you are correct. And others of you may be saying, but why would you ever want to take Predators when you have Leman Russes? Everyone knows Leman Russes are so much more superior to the venerable Leman Russ. And, you know, traditionally, and up until about a week ago, I probably would have agreed with you. But I've been looking at the Predator. I've been looking at ways that I can get it into my lists. And I've been looking with ways of synergizing it within my infantry lists. And I've come up with some potentially interesting ideas, and I think potentially competitive ideas as well. But before we get into that, let's look at what the Predator tank is. Okay, so for 70 points, that's how you get your basic Predator. It's armor 13, 11, 10. It comes with an autocannon as standard. It's a tank, vehicle type tank. And the only other thing really of note is it's ballistic skill 4. Now, you can add a variety of upgrades to the Predator tank. You can upgrade its turret to a twin-link las cannon, which will should take you back 30 points, I believe. And then you can also buy las cannon or heavy bolter sponsons for it as well. I'm just going to... Yes. 25 points to replace its autocannon with a twin-link las cannon. 20 points for the heavy bolter sponsons. 40 points for the las cannon sponsons. And the Predator tank itself is a base of 75 points. Okay, there we go. And as I said, ballistic skill 4, front armor 13, side armor 11, rear armor 10, and hull points 3. It comes with a searchlight and smoke launchers as well. So, pretty good. 75 points for a mainline tank. The Predator should never be taken as a bare bones vehicle. Okay, because for 75 points you're paying for one ballistic skill 4 autocannon, which I'm going to tell you now isn't worth it. It's definitely worth it to slap on some heavy bolter sponsons because that makes it a 95 point Daka Pred, as it's called, and that's quite good. Or you slap on the you make it a Predator Destructor, and you slap on the all the las cannons it can take, and that makes it 140 points, which is great. So it's cheap. I mean, wow. I mean, a main battle tank for 75 points, is amazing. I mean, it's basically a 95 point tank or a 140 point tank, and either option is absolutely amazing. But what does it offer the Guard? Because we already have loads and loads of Leman Russes. Well, I think it offers the Guard a cheap and more effective anti-tank platform than anything we currently have. Okay, because the problem with the Guard Codex is it's balanced, unfortunately. It's not OP, it's not cheesy, it's very balanced. And I've said this time and time again, if you take a Guard CAD versus any other CAD out there, maybe even Eldar, a basic CAD, Guard will probably win. Guard are the masters of CAD warfare. The only issue is when people start bringing formations. We haven't got the cheesy formations to keep up. But CAD on CAD warfare, Guard will win it. But the problem is that the Leman Russ, which traditionally our vehicle of choice, is too expensive. You see, as I said, the Guard Codex is internally balanced, which means everything has an advantage but also has an equal disadvantage. So the Leman Russ, let's look at the Leman Russ from an anti-tank and an anti-infantry point of view. You could take the Leman Russ Exterminator and give it a couple of heavy bolter sponsons, and you're paying 150 points. That's quite expensive for a tank. I mean, considering a Riptide is only 180 points, and you can run it bog standard if you need. You don't need to slap everything extra onto it. 180 points, a Riptide versus a Leman Russ Exterminator. The Riptide's going to win every time. It's going to glance your whole points to death via rending, or it's going to come in and punch to death. So the Leman Russ is too expensive. You try and make it an anti-tank version. You take the Vanquisher, you slap a las cannon on. That's 145 points for 2 ballistic skill 4 shots. You go the whole hog, you add on the multi-melters as well. 165 points for 4 shots, only half which are going to hit, of which you've got to be quite close. It's too expensive. On the other hand, if you want cheap, you go down the route of heavy weapons. You're still paying 105 points for 3 las cannons on an incredibly fragile platform. That's the thing. It's cheap, but it's not durable, and it's not mobile. You know, everything's got a balance. The Leman Russ is expensive, but it's durable in conventional terms, and it's mobile because it can move 6 inches and fire everything. The heavy weapons team are cheaper, 105 points or 75 points, depending on if you go in anti-tank or anti-infantry, but it's not very durable at all, and it's not very mobile at all. A Predator tank, I think, if you take it in the way that I'm imagining it, or I'm envisaging using it, I should say, provides a really nice balance between the two. Because you can take a Dakar one, which provides you with 2 heavy bolters and an autocannon for 95 points. That's only 20 points more than a heavy weapons team. Yet it's way more durable. And it can move and shoot and keep firing it. If you take it my way, which I'll explain it later, it can keep firing most of its weapons at full ballistic skill. I'll reveal this thing I'm alluding to in a few minutes. Or you take an anti-tank version, you rock up with, you rock up with 2 las cannons and a twin link las cannon, 140 points. You're still cheaper than a Vanquisher, and you're hitting more often, way more often. And I said the Dakar one, it may be 20 points more than a heavy weapons team, but it's 55 points cheaper than an Exterminator, and it's pretty much putting out the same firepower. Leman Russ gets the extra heavy bolter and the extra couple of autocannon shots, but it's not hitting with any of them. Ballistic skill 3 is rubbish. It's really bad. You know, you're not going to do much damage with that. The Predator's ballistic skill 4 basically means the Predator's ballistic skill 4 versus the Leman Russ's extra shots basically means they balance out, but one is significantly cheaper than the other. And the important thing to remember when regarding the Predator versus, its competitors, the Leman Russ or the heavy weapons teams, is that in the day and age of grav, D weapons, haywire spam, Armor 14 don't count for shit no more. Sorry guys, if you're playing with your mate in the bunker, in the basement bunker, or you're playing in your local gaming club, and all your mates are running fairly nice armies, the Leman Russ will do fine because Armor 14 means something versus conventional anti-tank. But the moment one of your mates goes online, starts doing some research, learns about grav, learns about D weapons, which they all do, that's the beauty yet the curse of the internet, your Leman Russes are going to start popping, and they ain't going to be in their points back. And you're going to start realizing, a Predator dies just as easily to a D shot as a Leman Russ. Why am I paying all these extra points? A Predator gets grabbed to death just as easily. A Predator gets haywire to death just as easily. But guess what? You're saving points hand over fist. And it's not like the Predator's weak. It's still got armor 13. So we've talked about the merits of the Predator. I don't want to repeat myself too much. We've talked about it's cheaper, it's more mobile, and it's just as durable. In many competitive cases, it's just as durable. Okay. So I've answered the second question, which was the Leman Russ is meant to be better. Now it's not. And I've touched upon the first question, which was pure infantry don't get it. And a lot of you are not pure infantry, pure guard don't get it. And a lot of people out there are going to say, I collect guard and I'm a pure infantry, I'm a pure guard player. I don't want to use allies. Well, I agree with you a lot of the time. And I've said this before. Guard players, they tend to have this honor streak running through them. They know they're fighting the uphill battle. They know they're fighting the good fight. But they don't want to cheese it out. That's why everyone likes guard players. You never meet a dickhead who's a guard player. Same with Sisters of Battle. Same with Blood Angels. There's certain armies which everyone knows they're not as good, but people play them, people collect them, people take them to tournaments, and everyone has a good time against them because there's a certain kind of player. They've got this honourable streak running through them. But that's another video. It's time for another video. When you're playing friendly games, you'll be fine using pure guard. But the moment your mates, like I said, go onto the internet, start bringing out the cheese, the moment you start going to local tournaments, national grand tournaments, you've got to realise that Guard have got to get every advantage they can. And if that means you've got to ally in some stuff to lean upon to fill in the gaps that your codex doesn't have, then so be it. Don't be afraid. Use every advantage you've got. When the cheese comes to town, you've got to have the greater ready. Because otherwise, you're going to get covered in cheese and it's just not going to be good. Okay? So, how am I thinking of using these predators in my army? Okay, well, I initially thought, what about an allied detachment? But then I realised I'm paying too much for tax. I've got to, you know, if I want to, and I can only get, if I let's take an allied detachment, I only get one heavy support slot, which means I can take 3 predators in that slot. But they're going to start, you know, because they're not as durable as Russ's, or Grav's going to start bothering them. The whole point is they're going to carry on over to every member of the squad, and they're not going to do very well. I mean, taking 3 does give you, taking 3 predators in one squadron does mean they get Monster Hunter and Tank Hunter, but it makes them too weak. I don't like vehicles. Pardon me. I don't like vehicle squadrons. Also, allied detachment means you've got to pay a tax for the character, for the HQ choice, and a tax for the troop choice. I don't want more than 3 predators in my army. So, I then started looking at formations, and there were 2 that stood out. One was in the Space Marine Codex, and it was the Armoured Task Force. Now, the Armoured Task Force is pretty interesting. Let me just get it up here in my Space Marine Codex so I don't get anything wrong. There we go, Armoured Task Force. So you've got to take 1 Tech Marine and 3 to 5 units of either Vindicators, Predators, or Whirlwinds. Now, we're obviously looking at Predators, so 3 to 5 units of Predators. And for doing it, so the tax is the Tech Marine, obviously, which is still better than a HQ and a troop choice. You're just paying 1 tax this time. And our special rules for taking this: vehicles from this formation ignore the effects of crew shaken and crew stunned whilst within 6 inches of the Tech Marine or a Tech Marine gunner from this formation. Okay. The Will of the Omnissiah is the other bonus. The Tech Marine and Tech Marine gunners from this formation have +1 bonus while making Blessings of the Omnissiah rolls for repair. So that's good. The bonuses are so-so. I mean, the crew shaken and crew stun result means you're going to be firing full, you know, all the time, which is good, you know. But I don't feel like it helps, because that means your predators are going to be very static. Because what you've got to remember is predators are not fast vehicles traditionally, hint, hint. But, which means if you generally have to keep them still. Otherwise, you move 6 inches, you're firing 2 out of your 3 weapons at snapshots, which isn't good. So, I like that, but then I realised that there was another way of, there's another version of this formation that the Blood Angels get, called the Lucifer Armoured Task Force. And it's exactly the same, 1 Tech Marine, and 3 to 5 units, and again, we'll assume Predators. And the bonuses you get this time is everyone gets fast. All your Predators become fast, and you guys know how much I love fast vehicles. So all your Predators become fast, and they get Scout. So, very mobile Predators. Now, you're not too worried about the Scout. I mean, that could be useful. You could outflank a triple Las Predator, get on the back, you know, outflank it into the back corner, 48 inches, fire on the rear armour of that Imperial Knight. He's not going to have his ion shields up. Potentially very good. But you're mostly there for the fast, which means that you can move 12 inches and fire 2 weapons at full ballistic skill. That's good. So how would I marry a Lucifer Armoured Task Force and an Imperial Guard Force? How would I do it? Well, we have to realise that. Let's start with the Lucifer Armoured Task Force. Let's see what's it going to bring. Well, it's going to bring lots of anti-tank on a mobile platform. Okay, as I've said, Imperial Guard generally have anti-infantry covered through lasgun spam, you know. So you want to go to your allies for your other stuff. So let's talk about taking 5 Predators straight off the bat, all with triple las cannon. They're all fast. That's 15 las cannon shots a turn. Okay. Ballistic skill 4, 5 of which are twin linked. You're on a fast platform, which means if you start getting into trouble, you can just get out of there. That's good. And that's cheap as well. That comes to, I believe, 700 points. Adding the Tech Marine, 765 points. Now, let's say you're going to a tournament, 1750, 1850 points. What can you add? You've got your anti-tank sorted. But as we know, tanks can be, they can be chewed up by Death Stars. You don't want, if you need something to stop the invisible Death Star from rolling up and crunching your tanks. Let's do what Guard do best. Let's provide cheap bodies. So you take your 5 Leman Russes, Predators, okay, and you add in conscripts by the bucket load. My idea was to take a lot of platoons and lots of conscript blobs. I was thinking to go along with the 5 Predators, you need to try and still get, 200 infantry. Because the Predators are going to do the damage, and the infantry need to absorb the damage. So what I was thinking was take 3 platoons and take them bare bones at first, just 2 squads and a platoon command squad. Give the infantry squads, an autocannon, grenade launcher each. Keep the platoon command squads basic, obviously, no upgrades on them. But then add 50 conscripts. That's right, 3 platoons with 25 men with 2 autocannons, grenade launchers plus 50 conscripts. That's 150 conscripts. Remember, all they're doing is advancing forward, taking ground. If they get tied up, doesn't matter. If they die by the bucket load, doesn't matter. They're conscripts. Your opponent will be forced to deal with 150 fearless guys marching towards him. And then, make sure you've got some leaders, some advisors, commissars, priests, something to keep them marching. My idea, off the top of the head, it wasn't even, I'm not even set in stone, but rough idea, commissar with the power weapon in one, commissar and the Tech Marine in the other, just to make sure they've got a power weapon in each blob. And then a Lord Commissar is my HQ choice for the CAD. And, I think I had him with, I think I gave him the Iron Left from the Cadian book, which is the good relic. Gives you +2 strength, AP3, Bionic, I think. It's pretty good. Bionic arm. But upgrades of your choice. Maybe it would be a good idea just to take some bare bones leaders, just have, maybe take priests, a couple of priests, that for the 2+ lookout sir, to make sure the blobs don't run away. It's up to you. Sprinkle with what upgrades you will, but essentially what we're looking at there is 5 anti-tank Predators, 6 autocannon grenade launcher squads. Okay, those autocannon grenade launcher squads, they just want to be a couple of squads on each of your home objectives. They're just going to sit there, obsec it up. No one's going to be really, when they've got 150 conscripts and 5 Las Predators coming at them, people aren't going to be too bothered about the occasional infantry squad here and there. The autocannon grenade launcher is just there to obviously allow them to, still contribute to the fight. A couple of autocannon shots a turn, it's 10 points, it gives your squad a purpose, you don't need any more las guns, and the grenade launcher is just a nice little upgrade to go along with that. Maybe if you're worried about someone deep striking in or drop podding in, take a flamer instead. It's entirely up to you. That's the beauty of it. Maybe you want to spend more points on your conscript blobs, maybe to put a priest and a commissar on each one, and that way you are doubling down, they're able to accept orders and they're fearless, and you're doubling on the number of advisors, and that just guarantees them to stay in the fight, because it can be quite easy for your opponent to snipe out your commissar if he's only got a 4-up lookout sir, or the same for your priest, even if he's on a 2-up lookout sir, But yeah, so in total, what we're looking at, this is an army that I am considering for a 1750 point tournament. which is going to be happening in the next 6 months, I'm looking at 200 and about 30 infantry, 229 infantry, 150 conscripts, 75 regular guardsmen, and 3 to 5 leaders if you include the tech priest. Okay? So 230 infantry, which is what I would normally take on its own to a 750 point tournament, plus 5 predators, all of which are fast, all of which have got anti-tank, 15 ballistic skill 4 las cannon shots a turn. Yum, yum, yum. You know, and that formation is fairly flexible. You know, if I want to, I could drop all those preds down. You know, I could drop a lot of points on those preds. I could, you know, a lot of people say you don't need the twin linked las cannon on the top. A more versatile version is to have the auto cannon on the top. Saves you 25 points, and it's not too much different from in strength from a las cannon. Still helps you, you know, still contribute to heavy armor targets. That would save me 100 points. I could get more guardsmen, more upgrades, blah 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 blah. But the general gist is I am looking at, you know, I'm thinking that could be damn competitive. 230 guys, wave after wave of conscripts, plus 5 tanks. And it's got a nice little, it's got a mix, you see, it's blob, you know, another reason why it's so potent is it's blob guard, which is what people hate facing. But it's also MSU, multiple small unit guard. You've got the 5 individual tanks, there's multiple small units. You've got the 9 individual small squads, 3 platoon command squads, 6 regular infantry squads. You know, your conscripts, if they tie your conscripts up, you've still got lots of small little squads running around, getting maelstrom objectives, sitting on objectives at the end. And don't forget, everything's scoring these days. And everyone runs formations at tournaments. So your fast predators could do a late game objective grab. Your fast predators could go 24 inches in a turn, move 12, flat out 12. That's really good. So your predators are not only fairly durable, they're not only pumping out a lot of shots, they're also potentially objective grabbers. And the reason I think this list is very potent is it means, you know, let's say you're facing, let's just go through the top 3 things you're likely to face at a tournament, or top 2. Invisible Death Star and Tau Riptide spam, or Tau in general, okay? Invisible Death Stars, they're going to be hating wading through wave after wave of conscripts. You know, turn 1, say it's a wolf style. Turn 1, it moves towards you. Turn 2, it eats 1 conscript blob. Turn 3, it eats another conscript blob. Turn 4, it eats the last conscript blob. Guess what? That's assuming it eats all the conscripts every turn. Normally it only kills about 30 or 40, which means you could tie it up nicely. You know, by the time it gets to turn 5, let's assume he's killed all your conscripts by turn 5. Oh look, he's got to split up, start taking objectives. You know, but you've got multiple small units. You've still got, even after you munches through 150 conscripts, you've still got 75 and 5 tanks. Wowzers, that's good. You know, Tau, they've got to, you know, let's say you're facing sort of 4 or 5 Riptides. You know, he's got to choose between gunning down your 3-point conscripts whilst his Riptides are taking 15 las cannon shots a turn. You should be able to bring down a Riptide a turn. Fingers crossed, with the new rules where the Riptide has to be 25% obscured by cover, he won't be taking his cover saves. Most of the time he'll be overcharging to get his weapons rending. You know, that means you've got 15 shots a turn. 5 of them are twin linked. 10 of them, they're all ballistic skill 4. You know, if you hit him, you're going to wound him on 2s. He's only going to have a 5-up save, and if he's paid for it, a 5-up feel no pain. Not all of them pay for it. It's very doable. Enemy Wraith Knight coming at you. You know, you could potentially, 1 turn, down that Wraith Knight. You know, we're looking at 10 last cannons with skill 4, you're going to hit with 7. 5 last cannons with skill 4 twin linked, should hit with 4. 11 last cannons, you should wound. Let's just, for ease of it, say 12 last cannons. You know, you're going to wound. You should wound with 2/3 of those. 8 last cannons. The Wraith Knight needs to be really 25% obscured to get its cover safe. Let's say it's not getting one. It can't have a turn cover anymore. So it's getting a 5 up feel no pain. If he's gone for the dual D cannons, you could kill it. You could kill it in 1 turn. It might take your other autocannons chipping in to try and get rid of the last wound, but you could do it. Now, I'm not saying this list is unbeatable. Not at all. Invisible Death Star, all those las cannon preds ain't going to be doing much to it. You might get lucky turn 1 and plink some animals off, but you know, you're going to struggle. You need turn 1 to do any damage. But still, don't forget, if you're facing a Wolf Star and you don't have first turn, outflank every single one of your predators. Outflank them. Bring him in from the sides. Cap objectives at the back. Make him run for it after you. Potentially very, very powerful. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you some food for thought. Please leave some comments if you think that potentially the Predator is the new main battle tank of the Guard.